Welcome to the video where I will explain why do I like British Tier 3 cruiser Caledon in World of Warships. Well, let's look at it. Here it is, our ship right here. You see here you have central guns on the whole ship, which allows you to point the guns at any direction and fire them at the same time. So you have 5 guns which could be fired in any direction, which is pretty good. In many other cruisers of this same tier do not have this kind of capabilities, and you actually have to have a certain some of the guns pointing in one direction, you will have guns pointing in the other. Of course, this is offset by the fact that your guns need to traverse all the way back in order to point in the other direction. But if you look at the modules itself, you're gonna see that that's not much of a problem. If you look here, the traverse time is 18 seconds. It's not that bad, and I never really felt bad for it. The reload time is 8 seconds, which is decent enough for me also. The maximum damage from armor piercing shells, and that's the only ones that this cruiser has, its armor piercing shells, is 2900. Now, in terms of hit points, it has 19,000 hit points. Its armor is 6 to 152 millimeters thick, and if you look at the armor, it does have an armor belt. There's a minor problem with this armor belt, and the fact that it sticks out above water. That means the extra protection of water does not apply here, and you can get broadsided pretty well, especially by a battleship. So I do not suggest to have this, this guy going up against a battleship in certain of a way as something that you're gonna be using to stand up to a battleship. That's not gonna happen. It has 5 main turrets, as we already saw. It has 4 torpedo tubes. Now this is a actually pair torpedo tubes on each side, so therefore you can actually launch 4 torpedoes on each side. Very useful. This thing, in my opinion, it acts as a fast destroyer. That's pretty much how I would approach playing this ship. So I found it to be the most fun way to play it also. Finally, it has 6 anti-aircraft mounts, which is also pretty much correct. There's a situation here, and historically correct. It did have originally 6 aircraft mounts, which of course got multiplied one after another. Like not one after another, I would say eventually during the World War II period it got extra anti-aircraft mounts. So the distance of fire we have is 11.8 kilometers, which is pretty good for this guy. Detection range, so the ships that will see you are 10 kilometer range. It's 10 plus something, but it's a very minor amount there, so I would say just round it off to 10 kilometers. That means you can fire before somebody sees you. Very good, right? Your torpedoes will go only 6 kilometers in range, so you do have to get close. The planes will see you at 3.9 kilometers, which is also not that bad. Now, everything else about this ship is historically accurate. The guns, accurate in terms of millimeters. The torpedo launchers, correct. Now, the torpedoes were 533 millimeters on this ship. There were 2 76.2 millimeter anti-aircraft guns and 4 40 millimeter guns for anti-aircraft. So everything historically accurate. The only issue you would have is this. Situations here is that the maximum speed is 29 knots. In reality, the ship can only maintain this for 4 kilometers. After that, it could not go on. So that was the limit for this ship. Alright, so let's go into battle and see how it performs. Now the ship, we're actually jumping this quickly into battle. Wow, it's kind of weird, but anyway, the ship started construction in 1916. It was completed in 1917 when it joined the Grand Fleet. So it didn't really do much in terms of participating in World War I. It participated in the battle of the second battle of Heligoland Bight, and it also participated in mine link operations and escorting Scandinavian convoys. We're all gonna get tier 2, tier 3 ships here in the battle. Let's go in. Looks like with this also we're gonna have a battleship on our end. I'm guessing there's a one on the enemy end as well. So we're gonna go 1/2 speed first. There's no reason to run into the opponent. We're gonna let destroyers go first, and then we're gonna go after them. My usual strategy is that as soon as I see an opponent, go full speed and use maneuver as defense. You don't have much armor. Like I said, the armor belt is above water mostly, and well, half of it is above water, and so getting broadsided is pretty much easy. But if you can, you know, if you're gonna trade this ship, trading it for a battleship, it's not that bad. I did that once. It's pretty good. Pretty good feeling. Anyway, so after World War One, it was added to the British Baltic Naval Force, where that force was based out of Copenhagen, and it participated in what was called the Russian intervention at the time. There we go, we found an enemy. It's a Charleston. Now, our guns are armor piercing, so therefore we can actually do damage to something like a Charleston easily. That's a beauty of this ship. We can deal damage to Charleston. Well, in this case we didn't, but our armor piercing capabilities allow us to do this. There we go, see? Now he's not very happy about this situation, but we have an ability to maneuver. You can see right there, I have a lot of very good ability to maneuver. So we're gonna send in a bit more and maneuver out of the way again. We didn't do so well at this time. But we can also repair the damage to ourselves. Now you gotta be careful with Charleston. That thing is like a machine gun when it comes to firing. Alright, we're gonna use an island for cover and try to avoid those torpedoes. Avoiding torpedoes is not a problem. I think. Did somebody, one of our guys cut down torpedoes? No, nobody did. Okay. So we do have ability to repair damage, number one, which is something that most other cruisers at this tier don't have. That's pretty good. Now we see another Caledon. We're gonna go ahead after this. So during the Russian intervention, it participated in the shelling of a. Let me see. Give me a second. I'm aiming. Okay, it participated in the shelling of the city of Ventspils, which was taken over by the. Slow down. Fire at destroyers. Pick up speed again. Because we armor piercing shots only, we're gonna quite often overreach and overpenetrate destroyers, but you still can do some damage to them. You're not a destroyer hunter, really. You're more of a destroyer yourself. So let's turn around again. So we can, there's a Kavashi, that's a enemy battleship. And then it pretty much patrolled, the ship patrolled the Baltic until 1920, when the British decided that the whole Russian intervention was no longer worth it, and they decided to withdraw all the forces from there.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
In the interwar period, it sailed in the Baltic again, pretty much just throwing the flag type of operations, and it also sailed around Ireland, it sailed to Turkey. In January 1923, it went to the city of Klaipėda, which was called Memel at the time. It was well, the city now is in Lithuania. Back then it was not exactly in Lithuania. It was held by the French garrison. So what happened was that Lithuanian government did not want the city to be turned into something like what they happened to the city of Danzig, of a creation of a free city. So they pretty much fermented the revolt there, which was supported by Lithuanian troops, and they blocked in the French garrison. The British and the French decided, well, this is not, you know, how things should be going, and sent in their naval force. And Caledon was, you know, was a British representation up there. French did more of the work. So when they tried to negotiate with the Lithuanians, that did not go so well. So they ended up. There we go. We kind of getting shots on the battleship, but not doing so well in terms of. Ooh, time to torpedo. And let's turn. Okay, we got heavy damage, but we can repair. There's torpedoes after us, but there's also our torpedoes going that way, so maybe we'll be able to get lucky. No, we didn't get lucky. He totally dodged them, but we got killed. Come on, turn. So, we're pretty good at turning. We should be able to... Oh, that's my torpedo. Wow, it's not that big of a distance. Okay, I'm gonna turn around here. Oof. Somebody doesn't like me. Is that a Charleston back? Our friend Charleston's back. Not much in terms of hits. Oh, Kawashi is presenting us a very nice target, so I'm just gonna take it. And you can see my turn speed of the guns is pretty good. Like, I'm not having problems turning from one target to another easily. Now let's turn again. I think we're gonna go after the Kawashi because, well, it's right there, it's sitting there. And the island is preventing me from doing any damage. So, negotiations did not go that well with the Lithuanian government, and well, the British and the French landed a force on the shoreline, and then they pretty much went out to the Lithuanian government and told them, by the way, the city will be yours. So that kind of solved the situation. Ooh, Charleston is just sitting there. Kind of, I think he's trying to back up or something. Well, we're gonna send this to help him out. Seems like a waste if you not to do that. There we go. The battleship gone? Battleship is gone. So my torpedoes are not going to be needed. So in 1931 the ship gets put into reserve, and then in 1939 it's taken out of reserve and joins the home fleet. So this was actually happened before the World War I started. Alright. So there, that guy did a bit of torpedo action. Now I'm gonna do a bit of torpedo action. You know, just in case if Charleston dodges those guys. Well, he didn't dodge those torpedoes quite clearly. And somebody else finished him off, okay. Still, hopefully mine don't hit one of our guys. Ooh, that's a dangerous situation. Ooh, that's a dangerous situation.
Nice work.
Ooh. Well, now this guy sent even more, so that's not good. So, where's the last destroyer? So in World War II, this ship began its service by pretty much patrolling between Iceland and Scotland, trying to intercept German commerce and German ocean raiders. Then in 1940, in the summer of that year, it transfers to Mediterranean fleet in Alexandria, where it participates on raid on Italian shipping. Then it becomes pretty much goes into convoy duty for Mediterranean, which is going to do a lot. It's going to do a lot of convoy duty throughout the whole service in World War II. In August 1940, it gets transferred to the Red Sea, where because what happened that the Italians attacked the British Somalia, and so it goes there to support the operations. It helps in the evacuation of the British Somalian capital of Berbers. Once that's accomplished, it goes back to convoy duty now. It just convoys ships to the Suez Canal. Eventually, it helps in the defense of Sudan. It helps in the capture of the city of Berbers, and from there on, it sails to Ceylon for repairs, and it's added to the Indian Ocean fleet. where again it pretty much plays the convoy duty for the whole period, except the interruption in 1942, in April 1942, when it joins the British task force trying to intercept the Japanese fleet that's trying to attack the city of Colombo. Now the British task force never intercepts the Japanese fleet, so that nothing comes of it. But that's pretty much the situation. So from there, in 1942, at the end of 1942, it sails back for England. In 1943, it has a lot of repairs and refitting done. This is the situation where it gets additional EA guns put on. So they replace all the previous ones. They place 3 paired 102mm guns, and they put 2 paired 40mm guns and 6 paired 20mm guns. After that, it joins the home fleet for a bit, then sails for Mediterranean back to escort the convoys there. In April 1944, it gets additional 2 paired guns of 20mm guns, as 2 additional anti-aircraft guns of 2 paired 20mm guns. It is placed under the command of American Navy to participate in the Operation Dragoon, which landed forces in the south of France. Then in October 1944, it gets additional 6 40mm buffers for anti-aircraft defense, and it's transferred to a GNC, where it participates in the liberation of the Greek islands. Then that's pretty much spends the rest of the war there, and in 1948 it's decommissioned and cut up for metal. Alright, so you saw the Caledon itself. It's pretty good. It has a very good maneuverability as a ship. It has torpedo tubes that allow you to go ahead and attack the enemy when you need to, when you get close enough situations. And usually I use the speed as my defense, my ability just to move out of the way and to just go so fast that the enemy is not able to predict where I am. It's literally playing a destroyer, except you now have a pretty powerful guns that can do damage to a lot of battleships, can do damage not to all battleships but to quite a few of them you can do, so you can do damage to the other cruisers as well. So from that perspective, it's a very enjoyable ship to play, and that's the reason I really like the British Tier 3 cruiser Caledon. Well, thank you for watching and for listening. If you like this video, please like it. If you don't like it, and please subscribe.